He is a chartered member of CILT UK and a fellow of the Company of Master Mariners of India. Captain Sunny Williams.
Sailing taught me resilience, adaptability under the prevailing circumstances and conditions. It gives me that confidence to take timely decisions.
And the way you prioritize without compromising the P&L is remarkable. The story of balancing service and profitability really flows like a narrative.
Kind of understanding now we have developed over the period of time with the various PSUs in different regions, sets our company apart from the other stakeholders, other competition in the country.
Hey everyone, welcome back to FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm your host, Sunny Pancholi, and today we are pulling back the curtain on the machine that keeps the world moving: shipping, ports, and container logistics. If you have ever checked a box from factory floor to store shelf and wondered, how did that get here on time through 3 ports and 2 borders? This one's for you. Expect real takeaways on growth, P&L discipline, turning operations around, and leading team where the tide and the clock never stop. Our guest has lived the entire journey from the bridge of a ship to the boardroom, a master mariner, LLM in international trade law, ISO lead auditor, and today the senior vice president at Allcargo Terminals Ltd. Over 3 decades, he has led CFS, ICD operations, vessel plannings, port ops, multimodal logistics, and P&Ls with stints at MSC Ship Management, CSAV Group, Navkar, Speedy Multimodes, and more. He is a chartered member of CILT UK and a fellow of the Company of Master Mariners of India. Captain Sunny Williams, welcome to the show. How are you doing today, sir?
Thank you very much for this elaborated introduction, Sunny. Humbled. Yes, very well. Good to go now.
Absolutely. So let's keep this easy and real, and to get things started. In simple words, Captain Williams, when you look back from your first day at sea to leading large logistic operations, what's the story you tell yourself about how you got here? Maybe one point that tested you, and one decision you are still proud of?
Yeah, that's a very well articulated questions, I would say. The memory is still very fresh. 12th June 1991. Yeah, that's the first ship I boarded, MV Star Lily, at Anchorage in Fujairah. About 5 hours drive from Dubai. And Dubai is not the Dubai like what you see today, shining Dubai. It used to be a desert those days. So the first ship, Star Lily, I boarded around 9 p.m. in the night, and I could still, feel that smell of the steel and the fresh breeze blowing. And that's when we set the sail from Fujairah. Shipping is not an industry, it's an adventure. And that adventure started for me on the June of 1991, for next 15 years, crossing 7 seas, different type of vessels, car carriers, bulk carriers, container ships. And I sailed for 15 years across various geographies. Then I transitioned into shore job. Finally, I got a command, in fact, on Mediterranean Shipping Company container ships in Geneva. And that is where they called me to their shore office to handle one crisis which happened in the United States for the environmental issue. And they formed the environment management team. And I was put into that. And that's how I got transitioned from sea to shore. And from there on, there are various corporate roles I've handled, as you have named, from MSC to CSAV, shipping lines, and gradually into the port industry of India. And from 2014, I entered the Navashiva CFS industry. So far, last 11 years, going strong and handling various complex logistics situations here. So one thing, when I reflect back on my journey, it's true leadership is not about, commanding things. It's about empowering people. The resilience which you develop is like how you encounter the challenges, right? And the operational excellence is a discipline which converts your vision into reality.
Absolutely, Captain Williams. And wow, starting out at sea must have been a whole different world. And the adventure of those first days really comes through. And it's clear how much that shaped your approach. That moment really shows resilience and grit. So, great. What a great start to this conversation. And
Yes.
all right, so let's move on to the next question.
Yes, please.
So, Captain Williams, continuing our conversation, I'd like to ask you, you have commanded vessels and you have run big shore ops, CFS, ICDs, inland logistics. What's one thing the ship taught you that changed how you lead on land? And one thing land ops taught you that made you think differently about the sea?
Very nice question, Sunny. The leadership on ships, it's all about, giving that calmness, because that is what earns the trust of the crew. And that's very important to, lead the crew who are, totally dependent on your decisions out at sea, right? And same steadiness drives the successful operations ashore, right? Land operations taught me that leadership is not just about command. It's about the communications and the empathy, the lessons which I should, I feel that I should have known back at sea have turned a different chapter in my life. Sailing taught me resilience, adaptability under the prevailing circumstances and conditions. It gives me that confidence to take timely decisions. And that is what helps me now in various complex situations when the team looks up to me, how to adapt to a given circumstances and condition and drive the team successfully. Managing operations on land gives me a valuable insight on data analytics systems, collaborations among various stakeholders. When I think back, this is one thing which I thought, could have changed the way I have approached my sea career, which was mainly on the daily routines or the checklist. It could have given me a different shape that time. Yes, so this is how, when I look back, it has deepened my respect for adaptability in various environments.
Absolutely. And hearing the lessons from the sea really brings the scale and responsibility to life. You can feel the pressure and how it shapes decision making in every moment. And the way you navigated those challenges at sea and applied them on land is fascinating. It really shows the adaptability and foresight required at that level.
True.
Okay. Captain Williams, at Allcargo, you are responsible for Western India with KPIs, budgets, and profitability on your shoulders. When targets get tight, what's the first lever you pull to protect service and still keep the P&L honest?
So, Sunny, like what they say at sea, when the weather gets rough, you don't cut the sail. You just trim them down, adjust them to the wind speed. So, in business also, while improving the efficiency and prioritization, before sacrificing the customer service or integrity. So, when the target gets tough, I pull the lever of discipline, not panic. So efficiency focus, clear communicates levels also, and my profitability also. So if you see, during the festive seasons or the year-end season, in our industry, especially the CFS industry, there's problem of congestions, port congestions or the CFS congestions. You can correlate it to the Amazon festive sale or the Diwali sale, where there are a lot of orders and you have to meet the timelines. So what we do normally, we prioritize our processes, control, we make a free lane for the en bloc movement from port to CFS so that the congestion at the port is reduced and our containers are evacuated well in time, brought into the CFS. Similarly, we empower the staff on the ground for decision making, the yard managers, the operation managers, to bring down the layer of decision making, simplifying it, instead of the hierarchical, layer, make it a standard layer so the decision making is quick. Make the data analytics into the picture, monitor the gate in time, the gate out time, the time the vehicles spend inside the CFS, the time you take to the delivery of the container, the custom examination, monitor that and do the analysis on that and try to improve that. So that's where the data analytics and the digitization, automation comes into the picture, and you give that delight to the customer. Then you also focus on the customer promise. What have you promised your customer? The timely deliveries, the cost, the evacuation, the turnaround of their vehicles when they come to take delivery, or when they come to cart the export cargo into the CFS. Tighter the vendor control, focus on the customer segmentation, so your service stay sacred and your costs stay controlled, right?
Absolutely, Captain Williams. And the way you prioritize without compromising the P&L is remarkable. The story of balancing service and profitability really flows like a narrative, and I can feel the tension and the thoughtful decisions behind every move.
Yeah, that's how we operate. That's how the team focuses for the customer delight, at the same time keeping the profitability of the operation intact.
Absolutely, absolutely. You work closely with PSUs and multi-government departments to get projects moving. So what's your playbook for aligning public stakeholders and private timelines without losing speed?
Thank you, Sunny, for asking this question. See, my playbook is very simple. Just align on the purpose, create a rhythm along with the government processes, communicate effectively with the government and other stakeholders in the process. Speed isn't lost when the trust runs ahead of the timelines. So I still remember those days when we were having this tender for CWC CFS Mundra. It's Central Warehousing Corporation. So our management was wary about how to go ahead with this project, whether this project will be profitable while working with the PSU, because they've once done a project with a PSU and it was not so successful. So the task was assigned to me and my team, and we worked on it with proper timelines. We made a business plan. It was a 5-year contract with CWC CFS in Mundra. It comes under the regional office Ahmedabad. So various visits done to Ahmedabad office, met the regional manager for Gujarat. So after various meetings, we participated in the tender and we stuck to our basics and to our business plan, which we made. And we operated that facility for the 5 years with good profitability. That CFS was supposed to be the biggest CFS in Mundra market, and it has really given a good thrust to our market presence and to our business in Gujarat. So the complete turnaround happened for us in Gujarat, so much so now we have taken that CFS again for the second tenure as well. So it's all about how you set up your purpose for the goal and how you align your rhythm with the PSUs. So that sets the system and that sets the process.
Hearing how you navigated the challenges makes the stakes feel very real, Captain Williams, and the strategic thinking behind every move really stands out.
True. So, it's not only CWC, then this gave us a lot of confidence, and we went ahead to have a strategic tie-up with CONCOR in NCR to set up a CFS in Dadri. So, we have gone from one step to another. The kind of understanding now we have developed over the period of time with the various PSUs in different regions, sets our company apart from the other stakeholders, other competition in the country.
Absolutely, absolutely, Captain Williams. All right, so let's take a quick break from all the serious stuff and welcome to our rapid fire round. No career talks, just you and me, one Sunny to another. First thoughts, short answers. Are you ready for it?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, what's harder to manage, waves at sea or spreadsheets on shore?
Spreadsheets on shore, anytime.
All right. Okay. All right. Boardroom difficulties, I guess. Oh, okay. Moving on to the next question. The port city that completely won your heart and why?
It's undoubtedly Singapore. Singapore, because the size of the country, and it has now turned itself into a global powerhouse for shipping because of their processes, because of their working style, and how they have converted their strategic location into an advantage.
Okay. If you had to pick one word to describe your leadership style, what would it be?
It's always steady as she goes. We call it on ships. So that reflects composure, consistency, trustworthiness.
Wow. Great. All right. One piece of equipment or gadget you never travel without.
And that's, I think, in today's age, it's very simple answer for everyone. It's their mobile phone.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Moving on to the next question. The most underrated skill every commercial leader should master.
That's undoubtedly listening, I think, because without listening, you don't complete the communication loop. If you just keep on speaking, it's just one-way traffic. Listening, completes that loop, and this is how you can sometimes converse with some difficult questions, difficult answers.
Absolutely. If you could instantly master one new skill outside shipping and logistics, what would it be?
That will be undoubtedly understanding human behavior. And this has been a challenge for me even on ships also. When I was sailing with different nationalities, I have sailed with Filipinos, Pakistanis, Burmese, Chinese, Europeans, Ukrainians. So understanding these different people, always was a challenge for me because, ships move on engines, but organization moves on emotions.
Absolutely. Okay. Next question. One book or movie that always inspires you.
The one book which keeps me always inspired, curious is Harsh Realities by Harsh Mariwala. The way he has overcome the challenges, built an organization from scratch into a global brand, always motivates me. It kind of, reflects my own journey, how I have maneuvered from scratch, from nowhere to where I am today. And it always inspired me to think out of the box.
Okay. So if your life were a movie, what would its title be?
That's a tricky one. Yes.
Yes, that's a tricky one.
Maybe A Calm in the Storm, my voyage from sea to strategy.
Okay, great. Composure under pressure. Right. Right. All right. Okay. Next question. A saying or quote you live by, the one that stayed with you since your sailing days.
Rough seas make tough seamen. Challenges shapes competence, but not comfort.
Oh wow, एक के बाद एक छक्के आ रहे हैं यहाँ पे सारे. I'm loving those answers of yours. Great. All right. Next question of the rapid fire round. Finally, sea, sky, or shore. Which one feels like home?
It's always the sea. Sea is my first love.
Brilliant, brilliant, Captain, and straight from the captain's log. Actually, that was fun. That was fun.
Right.
So, Captain Williams, let's move into the next part where we talk about leadership, governance, and why standards matter more than ever in global trade. And Captain, the logistics and shipping world is massive. Billions of dollars, multiple layers, and endless moving parts. And with that scale, we have always seen our share of challenges. You have spent decades leading operations with absolute transparency across ports, shipping lines, and trade businesses. So, from your experience, where do you think scams or unethical practices usually creep into the system? And how can good governance, transparency, and leadership stop them before they even start?
Okay. So in my experience of last 3 decades, the unethical practices don't begin in big moments. They always come into small exceptions. They creeps in when there is a lack of visibility, pressure overweighs principles, or individual accountability blurs into the collective ambiguity. So if I put it this way, it always, there's a period when you have to do small compromises. For example, you need to meet your big volume targets. So you bring down the rates sharply without keeping the standard procedures into place, or you give manual deliveries without the proper documentation. For example, in our industry, so these are these small compromises, where you deviate normal process, and it, when get together, opens a door for a larger lapses. So if I see how these to be curtailed, yes, governance creates a guardrail. It makes the system stronger to do things rightly. Maybe it may slow down the process, but definitely the checks and balances it creates, it discourages the misconducts, in the system. And transparency, it creates light. Whether when you take a decision based on open discussions, data analysis, it removes any ambiguity of, lack of visibility that way. And digital traceability and interdependent of views probably ensures, at every stage, a clarity is maintained among the stakeholders. And leadership, it always sets a tone for a good conduct, and a good conduct creates the culture of the organization. So if in your organization, you're rewarding honesty as good as, you're rewarding the achievement of targets, it creates a culture, yes, that your honesty is valued in the organization. So when that kind of culture is created, that sets the mindsets of the employees in the organization. So if I put it in one line, maybe, scams don't start in the system. They start in silence. So if your governance is good, it brings a good structure. Your transparency brings light into the system. And your leadership, it encourages, to speak before it's too late.
Rightly said, Captain Williams. And hearing the challenges in maintaining transparency really highlights the scale and complexity of your world. And the way you handle it with integrity is striking. The story flows so naturally between tension and resolution.
So that's the day-to-day challenge we have in our industry, because it is a heavily people-oriented industry. In our facility, every day 1,000 people come in and out. There are 400 to 500 employees working in every facility. We have 7 facilities across the country. So that's the kind of manpower we are handling every day. So that's the challenges comes that many times. You understand? So it's all about handling those challenges while keeping the transparency, while ensuring the customer promise. So everything goes hand into hand.
Absolutely, Captain Williams.
Yeah, repeating the question.
So, Captain Williams, this brings us to the last question of the podcast. And let me ask you, what drew you to join Directors Institute, and how has that experience shaped the way you think about leadership, governance, and decision making today?
Right, Sunny, coming to the last question, yes, Director Institute, what drew me to it was an opportunity which I saw, which makes me move from the managerial cabin to a boardroom. The opportunity which I saw, whereby I can convert my operational leadership into a institutional leadership, just to understand how organization performs, how they are governed and sustained and held accountable. So this experience has broadened my perspective immensely. It has deepened my appreciation and for the boardroom discipline, the ethical oversights, and long-term impact on decisions made in complex stakeholder environment. This has enabled me to understand leadership at this level is not about control. It's more about the stewardship, ensuring that the culture and the values in the company is built responsibly, transparently, and sustainably. I've gained a lot of knowledge here. It has reshaped what I see as leadership as a balance between ambition and accountability. I've learned about good governance, and I've learned that good governance is not about a slow decision-making. It's about strengthening your decisions. I've learned that leadership at its best is not about doing things right. It's about empowering people. It's about doing things right when they're not easy to do. Right. So finally, I would left this question of yours with a one line that leadership is temporary, but governance is a legacy.
Wow. Hearing what Tribute to Directors Institute really highlights your curiosity and commitment to growth, Captain Williams, and it sets the stage for everything that follows in your leadership journey.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited for that.
Absolutely. So let me tell you, Captain Williams, this has been such an engaging and eye-opening conversation. From your early days navigating ships across the world to leading complex logistics and port operations, you have shown us that leadership isn't just about managing systems, it's about managing people, purpose, and integrity. Your thoughts on transparency, ethics, and governance were a powerful reminder that in business, just like at sea, it's the invisible discipline that keeps everything afloat. So thank you for sharing your journey, your lessons, and your honesty with us. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on FaceTime with Leaders.
Thank you so much, Sunny. It's been a pleasure to have this conversation heart to heart.
Thank you once again for joining us, Captain Williams. And I'm Sunny Pancholi, your host. To everyone listening, thank you for joining us. Until next time, stay curious, keep building, and as Captain Williams would say, always steer with purpose. Take care, and we will see you on the next episode of FaceTime with Leaders. Thank you.
Thank you.